We almost didn't make it here. A few weeks ago, we had actually scored reservations at Wild Cherry. But the day of our reservation, a pretty serious snowstorm rolled through New York, and the restaurant had to cancel service for the night. Totally understandable, but what really stood out was what happened next. The team actually reached out to us by email afterwards, and were incredibly helpful in getting us rescheduled. It was super thoughtful, and honestly, a great first impression before we even stepped foot inside. So tonight, on another freezing winter evening in the city, we finally made it. When we got here, there was already a line forming outside waiting for the doors to open. Luckily, we had a reservation, so we were able to step past the line and head inside once they started seating. And immediately, this place hits you with a vibe. Wild Cherry feels like stepping into a different era. The whole space has this old school cinema energy mixed with a speakeasy feel. Dark lighting, warm tones, plush seating, and a design that feels both nostalgic and cinematic at the same time. That actually makes sense when you know the backstory. The historic theater that houses the space was recently purchased by the film studio A24, the company behind movies like Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, Uncut Gems, and Hereditary. Their plan is to restore the venue and turn it into a cultural hub for film premieres, screenings, and events. To start the night, we ordered cocktails and their oyster and sausage dish. For drinks, Allie had the Caesar, Wild Cherry's take on a Bloody Mary. Came with vodka, clam liqueur, Dijon, tomato, and a bunch of great fixins. I started off with the bee's knees, the gin, passion fruit, miso honey, biscotti drink. This was a really interesting combination. Briny oysters paired with rich, savory sausage. The saltiness and fat from the sausage balanced the oysters really nicely, and it made for a great first bite to kick off the meal. Definitely not something you see everywhere. Next up, the frog legs. If you've never had frog legs before, the best comparison is usually chicken. Lightly crisp on the outside, tender on the inside, and packed with flavor. They had that perfect balance of crispy texture with a buttery richness that made them disappear pretty quickly. For dinner, we both went with the burger. These were actually recommended to us by our waitress, and I'm glad we listened. Sometimes the simplest thing on the menu ends up being the best. The burgers were juicy, cooked perfectly, and were accompanied with a crisp lettuce. Nothing overly complicated, just a really well executed burger. We also shared a side of fries with mayonnaise dipping sauce, which were exactly what you want with a burger. And of course, we had to grab another cocktail. For dessert, we finished with the chocolate forest twist. Rich chocolate layered flavors, and just the right amount of sweetness to end the meal without being too heavy. A really great way to close things out. Overall, the food here was definitely good, but what really makes Wild Cherry stand out is the experience. The ambiance is incredible. Classic rock playing in the background, the cinematic interior, super friendly service, and that feeling that you're hanging out inside a historic theater that's about to have its next chapter. It's one of those places where the atmosphere is just as memorable as the meal. And honestly, between the snowstorm, reschedule, the vibe and the food, this turned into one of those nights we won't forget. So if you're looking for a spot in New York that feels a little bit different, a little bit cinematic, Wild Cherry might be worth checking out.